Today, we delve into the case of Charles Albright, exploring the mind of a man who committed some of the most twisted and disturbing murders in Texas history. Welcome to the story of the eyeball killer. In the world of serial killers, there are few cases as grotesque and bizarre as that of Charles Albright, a man who became known as the eyeball killer. His gruesome nickname came from the horrifying details of his crimes, details that shocked the nation and left Dallas, Texas, gripped in fear during the early 1990s. But what makes Albright's story even more chilling is that behind the mask of an ordinary man, well liked by his community and friends, lay a depraved killer with a horrifying obsession. Charles Albright was born on August 10, 1933, in Amarillo, Texas. He was adopted as an infant by Del and Fred Albright, who raised him in a strict and sometimes overbearing household. Del, in particular, was known for her extreme discipline and high expectations, pushing Charles to excel academically and personally. It was she who introduced him to taxidermy at a young age, teaching him how to skin and mount animals. Little did anyone know that this seemingly innocent hobby would later become an eerie foreshadowing of his crimes. As a child, Albright showed signs of early brilliance. He was highly intelligent, skipped grades, and had a wide range of talents, including music and sports. But beneath this exterior, troubling behaviors began to surface. He was arrested for petty theft in his teenage years and showed a growing fascination with anatomy and eyes, a fixation that would take a dark turn later in life. Albright's early fascination with eyes grew stronger over time. His taxidermy training as a young boy required him to remove the eyes of animals and replace them with glass ones. However, Del refused to buy him the glass eyes for his projects, forcing him to leave his taxidermy creations unfinished. This seemingly small moment left a lasting impact on Albright, sparking a morbid fixation on eyes. Despite these troubling early signs, Albright appeared to lead a relatively normal life as he grew older. He attended college and even studied pre-med at Arkansas State Teachers College, though he never completed his degree. He also taught briefly and had several relationships, including a marriage that ended in divorce. However, behind this facade of normalcy was a man with dark secrets and a growing desire for violence. By the 1980s, Charles Albright had settled in Dallas, where he lived a seemingly quiet and unremarkable life. He worked odd jobs and developed a reputation as a charming, intelligent man who loved art and had a keen interest in crime stories. To those who knew him, Albright was a likable and helpful individual. But underneath this facade, a monstrous obsession with human eyes was festering. It wasn't until 1990 that the horrors of Albright's crimes came to light. Between December 1990 and March 1991, a string of gruesome murders shook the city of Dallas. 3 women, Mary Lou Pratt, Susan Peterson, and Shirley Williams, were found dead in various parts of the city. They were all sex workers, and they had all been brutally murdered. But what made these murders particularly disturbing was the fact that their eyes had been surgically removed with precision, leaving their eye sockets empty. The Dallas Police Department was baffled by the killings. The removal of the eyes suggested that the killer had some level of medical knowledge or expertise. The precision with which the eyes had been taken out was chilling. It was as if the killer had performed a grotesque form of surgery. This detail led investigators to believe that the killer might have a background in medicine, anatomy, or even taxidermy. As the bodies piled up, fear gripped the streets of Dallas. The press dubbed the mysterious killer the eyeball killer, and the city was desperate for answers. But for months, the police had little to go on, no solid leads, no suspects, just a mounting body count. It wasn't until a breakthrough tip from a woman named Veronica Rodriguez that investigators began to zero in on Charles Albright. Rodriguez, a sex worker in Dallas, had a terrifying encounter with a man she believed was the killer. She described him as an older man with a charming demeanor, and she provided enough details about his appearance and vehicle to point detectives in Albright's direction. As police dug deeper into Albright's past, they uncovered a disturbing history that matched the profile of the eyeball killer. Albright's fascination with eyes, his history with taxidermy, and his knowledge of anatomy all made him a prime suspect. But it wasn't just his strange obsessions that drew investigators' attention, there was physical evidence, too. In March 1991, police executed a search warrant on Albright's home. Inside, they found several incriminating pieces of evidence, including hair fibers that matched those found on the victims. Additionally, they discovered tools that could have been used to remove the victim's eyes. The evidence, combined with witness testimony, was enough to arrest Albright and charge him with the murders. However, even with the mounting evidence against him, Albright maintained his innocence throughout the investigation and trial. His defense team argued that the case against him was circumstantial and that there was no direct proof linking him to the murders. But the prosecution presented a compelling case, showing the jury that Albright's bizarre obsession with eyes, his medical knowledge, and the forensic evidence tied him directly to the crimes. In December 1991, Charles Albright was convicted of the murder of Shirley Williams, one of the 3 victims. Although he was not convicted of the other 2 murders, the evidence strongly suggested that he was responsible for all 3. Albright was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Charles Albright died behind bars on August 22, 2020 while serving his sentence for the brutal murder of Shirley Williams. His case stands as one of the most chilling in the history of Texas crime, not just because of the brutality of the killings, but because of the sheer strangeness of his obsession with eyes. The story of Charles Albright, the eyeball killer, is a terrifying reminder of the darkness that can lurk behind the most unsuspecting faces. A man who appeared to be normal, friendly, intelligent, even charming, was hiding a horrifying secret obsession that led to the brutal deaths of 3 innocent women. Albright's case remains one of the most bizarre and disturbing in the annals of American true crime, and his twisted fascination with eyes still haunts those who remember his reign of terror. Thank you for watching. If you found this story as chilling as we did, please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing with others. Let us know in the comments which true crime stories you'd like us to cover next. Stay curious, and stay safe.